Sidelines. It is November 19th, 2025. Rob Browne in Memphis. Brendan Martin, Ocala, Florida, down in the heart of Gator Country. A lot to cover today. We got Chris Lee, Southeastern 16. Also, Oakley McFerrin, the intern in the house. Jarrett Johnson covers Texas Tech out in Lubbock. I'll tell you one thing. How fast can you build a national championship roster? Well, we might find out this year as their John Hamm lookalike from Landman, Cody Campbell, is pumping money that he got from pumping oil into the Texas Tech Red Raider program. Also, Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas, checks in with us. And Vince Ferrara, 99.1 The Sports Animal in Knoxville. Do us a favor. Follow us on X, Twitter. Catch all of our podcasts right here on X. Also on YouTube and Facebook. 8 channels we broadcast live simultaneously. We are here to serve research, instruction, extension. Yeah, that's kind of our motto. Yeah, I've seen that before. Look, great one today. Chris Lee up in Nashville. Chris, I know you got a busy schedule. We'll keep you the first 15 minutes or so if you can stay with us. Vanderbilt, man, I'm still so impressed. And Oakley being an NBA alum, he was out sick with the bubonic plague last week. He missed it, but Clark Lee's just an impressive guy. I don't think he's like a lot of what you've had to deal with at Vanderbilt in the last 15, 20 years. He's different. They are sniffing the playoffs. They've got Kentucky coming to First Bank Stadium Saturday. I know you'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, what a wild place to be, huh? And then you've gone from Paul Feinbaum, what was it? I don't know, 15 months ago, talking about his Vanderbilt won its last game as a member of the SEC, which felt like maybe a fair question. I mean,
Yes.
It's a conference game. Here we are where, you win 2 more games and so things go your way and you're in the playoff.
Yeah. Oh, you're an NBA alum. You got to be proud of Clark Lee, aren't you? Have you ever met him?
Yeah. So he speaks to our school probably once or twice a year. So heard him a few times, and seems to be a great guy. And I mean, unbelievable what he's done for the Vanderbilt program.
Yeah, it really is. Chris, you got Kentucky coming in. They're playing some good football right now. What does Vanderbilt have to guard against the most?
I think Vanderbilt's the better team in the game. They'll be favored by, I think, about 10 points. And so usually the recipe to lose a game like that is turnovers, penalties, dumb mistakes, not cashing in on opportunities, giving somebody a short field, that kind of stuff. So I think if Vanderbilt avoids those kind of things, and the defense has got to get better, which I think it will. I think they were really banged up in that Auburn game from what I've heard on that side of the ball. I think having a couple of weeks to get healthy, and maybe just for Clark Lee and Steve Gregory, their defensive coordinators, go back and look at the film and say, hey, what can we do better? I mean, they're good defensive coaches. I think there's a better performance on that side of the ball in there for them too.
Yeah. Chris, Vanderbilt is the oldest team, at least on the offensive line in the conference. How important is that? They may be the oldest nationally.
Yeah. I think it's been pretty important. I mean, Diego Pavia this time a year ago was limping through games. He's not now. In fact, what's scary for everybody, you saw how he played Auburn. Now he's got 2 weeks to get ready and, get fresher. So I think it's been huge in their season. He's played so well in no small part because he's able to play well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I think this is a huge weekend for Vanderbilt, not only because they play Kentucky, but also because Vanderbilt fans this week need to be the biggest Tennessee fans there is, because if Tennessee loses, they drop out of the top 20. Vanderbilt needs to jump over Miami and Utah and have a chance of getting in the playoffs. So they need Tennessee to be ranked within that top 18 and beat them on the road for them to get in.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other way is, do you want Tennessee coming in inspired with maybe, I don't know how much kids play for Florida bowl games these days, but if they did, that's the path. If it's, hey, you go down to Florida, you're just ready to get it over, get in the portal, whatever the case is, that's the other path too.
Well, the league this year, top to bottom, there's a lot of parity. But I remember back talking to Diego Pavia at Media Days about what did you learn from year one, you're carrying into year two. It's exactly what he said, knowing when to take a hit and when to slide. Yep. He's a smart guy, isn't he? You've been around him some, very high football IQ. one of the most competitive people I've ever seen on a football field.
Yeah, I think his, football intelligence or whatever is as good as I've ever seen. I mean, again, his ability to make plays in a moment, to make a split-second decision about what to do or not to do. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody better, not at least at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine if he had the frame and the body of a Cam Newton or a Roethlisberger?
You're looking at 1-1 easily.
Yeah. I mean, it's and Oak, your quarterback was Marcel Reed, by the way. He was number 20 in that class of 2023 that had Arch Manning, Jaden Rashada, and others. Oak, jump back in.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all talk about Pavia, obviously how great he is on the field, but I mean, he catches a lot of flack for off the field for whatever reason. He comes off as arrogant to some people. I view that as extreme confidence in a guy people can rally behind, and somebody that's the exact person a program like Vandy needs. Someone that's going to be like, hey, these aren't upsets. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to win these games. And he leads by example. No one puts their body on the line more than Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think the thing is that sometimes it goes over the line a little bit. There's times I thought, all right, he needs to dial it back. He's not helping his team. He's giving other people bulletin board material, those kind of things. But yes, I mean, he did bring an attitude and a spirit and hey, he at Vanderbilt, it's usually like, hey, let's get to 7 wins and make a bowl and we'll be happy and celebrate it like it's a national title. He came in from the beginning. He's like, no, we're looking at playoffs and national titles and things that sounded crazy. But I think it's that kind of attitude that got them to this position.
Okay, so Vandy's number 14 in the CFP rankings that came out last night. Obviously, like Oak said, some things have got to happen, but they finished 10-2 straight up.
Yeah.
They're in. There's no way they keep them out.
I don't know. I mean, I wrote a article about it yesterday. It took me about 4 hours. It's on our site, Vandy 24/7. I mean, I think basically, I was listening to Pete Thamel and those guys. They've got 30 teams that are still in the playoff picture right now. No, some of those are like you've got 5 teams in the ACC that could get to the title game, and you're looking at SMU and teams that would only get there by doing that. You've got whatever could happen in the American Conference and the Sun Belt. So like a lot of those are teams that are pitted against each other. It might be 5 teams competing for one bid or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, you've got Southern Cal. Like what happens if Southern Cal goes and beats Oregon Saturday? You got 2 10-2 teams. Oregon is a top 5 computer rankings team. You've got the mess with Oklahoma and Alabama. You've got, what are you going to do with Miami, which is probably not getting to the ACC title game, but is beating Notre Dame. And by the way, jumped 2 spots by pounding NC State for whatever that's worth. Committee thought that was worth moving up 2 spots. I think anybody that finds certainty in this is making a mistake because A, you've got to figure out how to separate the teams, and B, you've got to mind read the committee, which I don't know about you guys. I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah. Well, and I got to ask you, Chuck Oliver talking about Dave Doran, the coach at NC State, just a dour, miserable, I mean, he really is Ebb Scrooge comes to mind. It's just he just doesn't like anything. But getting back to the SEC, Frank Duffy said on the show last Friday on a roundtable, he sees a path, Chris and Oakley, for the SEC having 7 teams. I'll ask you, Chris, first. Agree or disagree, and then Oak.
I don't see it. I mean, I guess your scenario would be Georgia, Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Texas. But man, you got first of all, okay, that leaves one. Let me think about this. Okay, that's 7. So one of those is going to be an at-large. Did he mean to get 7 in or for 7 different teams? Because those are 2 different questions. It had to be the latter, right?
7 SEC teams into the 12-team playoff, which I think.
Oh, okay.
Would be
see, I just don't see it. Okay, let's do the math. Okay, you got that's 7 of your 12 teams. One of them is your auto bid. You got 4 more auto bids to go. Yeah. That is 11, 7 SEC teams. And 1 team from 4 different conferences and 2 teams from another conference.
Yeah.
That what that would take would be for probably Southern Cal to beat Oregon.
Yeah.
And neither team getting in.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Indiana and Michigan, and then one ACC team. That's whoever wins the title. And by the way, that would also include Notre Dame. I just don't see it.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that's realistic because, I mean, for even a team like Vanderbilt to get in, they may need Alabama to lose because, you really have to get you have to get to the 10 spot to get in because you got the ACC champ and the Group of 5 team. And then Texas, do they jump 7 spots with the Texas A&M win at home? I'm not sure that's the case. And that would also require them to jump Vanderbilt. So I just think that's really unlikely.
Chris, there's 30 million people that we know of in the state of Texas, okay? Texas, if they beat Texas A&M 42-7, 30 million people, that's a lot of TV sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing I've said all along. I don't think you can underestimate how much style points matter at times. I mean, again, you saw Miami move up a couple of spots by bludgeoning a pretty mediocre NC State team. I mean, the separators between these teams are not big. They're really not. And so if you're going to look at something and try to say, okay, why this team instead of that team, I think marquee wins and maybe blowout wins over big teams would be something that would carry weight. But again, I'm not the committee.
Yeah. A&M, they're pretty damn good. I picked South Carolina to beat them last week. I felt like a genius until the second half started.
Yeah.
But I still covered. In your opinion, what Chris just said, agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I think with A&M, it's just a tale of two halves. I mean, if their offense can play with some consistency, I mean, they could probably be the best team in the country with how their defense is flying around. But I don't know if you can trust it with turnovers and inaccuracy with Marcel Reed. So, I mean, I think they could be you saw it last week. The second half, they looked the best team in the country. First half, they looked like they didn't belong in the playoffs. So, I think it's if they can play with some consistency, they're a real legit national championship contender.
Chris, all right, now, what's this doing to Vanderbilt's recruiting? Because I think Oak said when he was a senior at NBA, they had the third toughest high school strength of schedule in America. Everybody in the world is moving to Middle Tennessee, as you know, is by the traffic. You and Oak, of course, Oak's at Auburn. What's it doing?
It's helping tremendously. I mean, they're in it with Jared Curtis, which, that would have been one they never could have gotten.
Wow. Some
people think they might get him once Clark Lee's contract is announced. With that sometimes follows other kids. And look, I'm not saying one way or the other. When you're in this recruiting game, people tend to tell each camp what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So I think there's confidence on Vanderbilt's end. There's confidence on Georgia's end. I just wait for the press conference and then I'll tell you, I'll see what happened and guess for myself. But I will tell you, there's perception that's a very big deal. The last couple of games, I've never seen more high school kids on their sidelines, probably by a factor of 2, maybe more. And look, some of that is this, but the other part, and Oakley knows this, he grew up here. Like, I could not think of a worse atmosphere for coaches to bring recruits into than Vanderbilt for most of our lifetimes.
Yes.
Because you come in and it's, 28,000 Tennessee fans or whatever, Alabama fans, and you're just getting destroyed. And there's no atmosphere for your own fans in the building. Like I remember Bobby Johnson's staff and some of those, they did not bring their best targets in to football games. They waited till the season was over and brought them to basketball games.
All right. That right there, but the new stadium with the retrofit, that's got to be impressive. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean, it is, and it's really a cool atmosphere. I don't know if I've said this on your show before. It's kind of like playing football in one of those kiddie bounce houses. It's small and intimate, and there's just all this energy all over the place, and it's just wild. Like there's not even a remote resemblance to the atmosphere in that building now compared to what they've seen the last few years. Like and a lot of it's students. The students are really into it.
Yeah.
And they're sitting right over the tunnel. Well, I get the tunnel where Vanderbilt comes out, not the opponents. But like it is just it just feels very surreal. It doesn't feel anything like the games I've been to most of my life.
Yeah. And Chris, look, we got a lot going on, but we'll do it again next week. Great stuff. I know you cover the SEC, the Southeastern 16. You got a great podcast. So let people know how they can follow you and keep up with it.
Yeah, you can search Southeastern 16. We cover SEC football, baseball, basketball. By the way, an hour and 45 minutes from now, I've got an interview with Butch Thompson, Auburn's baseball coach. We've been putting several of those out. We'll have a basketball wrap-up this morning I won't be involved in. We'll have a preview show for our members tomorrow, and we'll recap the 3 watch windows on Saturday. But we literally do those 3 sports year-round, and if you're looking for your SEC stop, that's it. And then Vandy 24/7 for our Vanderbilt coverage.
Yeah, and you do really work 24/7. I don't know when you sleep.
Yes,
really do.
I don't much, or not. Well, I sleep, but there's not much else other than work and sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
all right, take care. Have a blessed day, man. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
All right, let's bring in Jarrett Johnson. Jarrett, been hearing you a lot on Chuck Oliver's show with Chuck and Heath Klein. You cover Texas Tech. We're SEC Sidelines Sports Network, but can't live in an echo chamber because what is happening out there in the Permian Basin, it's big. And I've been in the financial market business for 34 years. 4.2 million barrels per day coming out of the ground out there, Midland, Odessa. Now, people always talk about Texas Tech, it's out in the middle of nowhere. And I've been saying for years, I bet they got a damn good petroleum engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering program. And at some point, somebody is going to say, you know what? I want the Red Raiders to have the best roster in the country. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but talk about your main character who's financing a lot of this. But guns up, man. This is great. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate you reaching out. It's a great story. Cody Campbell is who you're referring to. I think a lot of people have heard the name now and are at least somewhat familiar with his story. He's a multi-generational Texas Tech, not just student, but student athlete. I think his grandfather was on one of the original Texas Tech football teams, or great-grandfather. He's from West Texas, kind of the Amarillo area, and Canyon, Texas. And him and his partner, John Sellers, actually both played for Mike Leach at Texas Tech. Both went on and played professionally, at least for a little while. And then obviously, made it big in the business world and have, put money back into Texas Tech, not just the athletic program, but certainly the athletic program. And it's not just those two guys. There's several, at least a handful of big time donors. Dusty Womble, he has his name on both the basketball and football facilities, 2 sparkling new facilities, which I put up against honestly anywhere in the country. I think a lot of national media came out last week with game day and everything and got to see it for themselves and really echoed what I said. So like you said, not just being though in an echo chamber, the national perspective, getting to see it, but what a story with Cody Campbell. He's been very aggressive within the rules with all these rule changes, NIL, the transfer portal, all those things. Said this is an opportunity for Texas Tech to go all in, make a big splash. And ultimately, the final objective is to still have a chair when the music stops with all this alignment. And who knows when that's really going to stop. But UT and OU going to the SEC was really a signal like, you don't want to be left behind and kind of be not one of those power conferences, not playing big boy, big time athletics. So this has really been a push to get to that point. And needless to say, Texas Tech has made a lot of waves, not just locally, regionally, but nationally.
All right, what's going to happen in Austin on the 40 acres if Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and North Texas all make the college football playoff and the Horns don't? Oh, wait, I don't think my ears can take it. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I get a lot of comments on every time like I post something, I'm doing my job, I post something positive about Texas Tech, whether it be a big recruit or a big win or something like that. You have some UT fan jumping in saying, oh, Texas Tech will be 4th or 5th or 8th in the SEC. And, UT
not with this roster.
I I'm curious to see how it. I agree with you. Obviously, I'm curious to see if Texas Tech handles its business and gets in the playoffs as we're expecting. You know, they're fifth in the rankings released last night. Then I'm very curious to see how they stack up with some of the best other best teams in the country. But you know, UT fans are who they are. You know, and I'm sure they're having a really rough time right now. And quite honestly, most of my customers are very happy with that.
Yes, of course they are. Oakley jumping here with Jarrett Johnson. You covered Texas Tech for 247 Sports, and like Chris Lee, I don't know when you sleep because you were putting out a ton of really quality content.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think with OU and Texas leaving the Big 12, it really opened a position for, hey, somebody take the lead role in this conference and kind of run the conference moving forward. And there was no better time to invest in your program than Texas Tech did. And I think game day really opened a lot of people's eyes. Visiting there, you kind of see how invested people are in the program. People are getting out there, camping out a week early. We haven't seen that anywhere game day's gone so far. And I mean, Texas has one of the best front sevens in the country. This isn't a fraudulent team. Their one loss came in a close game at Arizona State with their backup quarterback, or else we'd be talking about them being a top 3 team in the country. So I think Texas Tech has the opportunity to open a lot of people's eyes in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Jarrett, you know, what he just said in that game against BYU was a huge win. And I remember reading when BYU joined the Big 12, it was a national writer, I don't recall his name, why BYU won't win. And I'm going, are you nuts? There's 16 million Mormons. Number one, that's a lot of mountain bike sales. That's a lot of white shirts and clip-on ties, but they all love the mothership. I worked with a guy who was a walk-on at Alabama. He was a Mormon, and everybody said, why are you not playing for the mothership? You know, because his dad was on the staff at Alabama. But that's 16 million fans right there globally that would give their last dime to that program. So this conference is getting to be very competitive.
Yeah, BYU has been, if you look at BYU and Texas Tech, both programs have invested heavily, not just in football, but in sports. I mean, BYU has one of the top basketball programs in the country, as does Texas Tech. I'm sure I haven't done a deep dive on all BYU's athletic programs, but just with the 2 major ones and Texas Tech as well. And then going on like softball, you know, Texas Tech went to the College World Series for the first time last year. Several other sports, they're top 10, top 15, because both these programs have invested, and not just invested, but they put that money in the hands of people who apparently know what they're doing, know how to build rosters. So really, you look at those 2 programs as a whole, they look to lead the Big 12, which is kind of interesting because I think most people assumed Oklahoma State would, take the mantle because they were right there. Oklahoma was always kind of Big Brother was always kind of keeping them down when Oklahoma State would, just bring up one 10-win season after another, but not quite get over the hump. But, you see that Oklahoma State, at least in football, could not make the transition in terms of the NIL era. And, they're one of the worst football teams in the country now. So they've gone a completely different way, which is interesting to me that it's, if you were judging it by the previous way college football and college athletics were, then you would think, Oklahoma State's taken over. But with this whole landscape change of really almost everything in college sports, it's the programs that are willing to invest and willing to adapt. And you see that in BYU and Texas Tech.
And it's also, I don't think people realize, I live in Memphis, which is the largest small town in America, cotton belt, rice, beans. But from Altus, Oklahoma to Lubbock, Texas, there's more cotton grown in that region than anywhere in the world outside of, as a guy once said in a history class at Auburn, the Yangtze River Valley in China.
Right.
That's the only place.
Right.
So not only is there oil money, there's cotton, king cotton money. So talk about the roster. And Oakley's high school quarterback was Marcel Reed at NBA. So he's watching him have some fun. But I want to know this collection of guys from all over the country. How many new players came in this year with your coach, Joey McGuire, and what's he like?
What Joey McGuire, one of a kind, one of the most genuine people, especially for a guy in his position. I mean, it's almost a politician's position now. You have to do, or at least a CEO. You have to do so many things. All the baby kissing, handshaking. All that's before even you talk about recruiting. That's just with donors and us folks, the media, all that stuff. But he does it effortlessly because he's the same dude every day. And what's interesting about McGuire is him and his right-hand man, his special teams coordinator, Kenny Perry, both came up through the Texas high school ranks, and several of his guys on his staff. But I used to be at the Fort Worth Star Telegram, a newspaper there in the Metroplex, and I used to cover their high school programs like a lifetime ago. And they were the kind of dudes that would let you come hang out and chalk talk with you. They'd have the big dry erase boards, and they'd have the playoff scenario, high school playoff scenarios. They'd have share some of their plays or at least some of their schemes with you. They were just an open door. And you think maybe some of these guys get big time, when they go up a level. No, not at all. Joey McGuire and some of the main guys on his staff were just like they were 15 years ago. They treat a lot of people with respect, including the media. And that's one of the reasons he has such great relationships throughout the state. And in terms of the high school ranks, he's considered like the godfather of Texas high school football coaches. Was a president of the association, has done a lot to move that forward as well. So McGuire is a player's coach. He's a CEO type coach. And in terms of what was your first part of your question?
Just really, I think it was about all the roster and the collection of guys from all over the country.
Well, how many guys? I mean, 25, I believe, 25, 26, when you throw in everybody. Including Micah Hudson, who went to A&M for like a couple of weeks and then came back. But the main thing is they changed really the whole trajectory of the program in the trenches. Cody Campbell, going back to him, against Colorado last year, Tech got really beat against Colorado. Like they did everything right except in the trenches. They just could not match up with Colorado. And that was a pivotal game for Texas Tech last year. And randomly, one fan added on Twitter, on X, Cody Campbell, will you buy us an offensive line? And he just simply said, I will. Like there's T-shirts all around it. I will. And he didn't stop at offensive line. He went heavy on defensive line. And guys like Lee Hunter, who will definitely be playing in the NFL, is just a monster, 6'3". He's the kind of guy. He's the SEC defensive line.
Oh, he started out at Auburn from Blunt High School in Mobile. Yeah.
When I try and explain the difference between like SEC and most other, including a lot of times even Big Ten schools, not the top echelon, it's defensive linemen. Like I covered Ashawn Robinson in basketball. I don't know if you remember, stars, a freshman at Alabama and all that.
Yeah.
And he led them to the state championship game as a point forward, 6'5", 300 pounds. I saw the dude do a flip after winning a regional championship. There's just not a lot of dudes made like that in the world, that could be that big. That's the difference. And Tech went out and tried to and they did, get that type of upper echelon defensive line. Starts with Lee Hunter, David Bailey, who's either leading or up there in the country in sacks. Romello Height, who doesn't get as much attention as some others, is like you go back and watch the games, he's almost equally as disruptive as David Bailey. So having both those guys off the edge, while Lee Hunter and guys like A.J. Holmes, Skylar Gill-Howard, another defensive lineman before he went down, who might be back if Tech makes the playoffs and all that. But it's just there's nowhere to run to. There's nowhere to hide. And then you have J-Rod behind that, who's just running free because he's got no blockers on him. Because, you're having to – I'll give you an example. This is the best way to describe it. BYU went max protect, seven guys to block 4, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, 1 out of 5 times. And that was the difference in the game.
Well, and you mentioned Romello Height out of Dublin, Georgia, another Auburn guy that transferred. Oak, see what we're going with this? Your backups, your 2s and 3s are now starting at Texas Tech. Of course, I watched Texas Tech. I'll never forget that game against number 2 Texas when Crabtree caught that winning touchdown pass. I mean, that was a memorable, one of the most memorable moments in college football. Oak, jump back in here with Jarrett Johnson, 247 Sports on the Red Raiders.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on, Texas A&M sitting firmly at 5, or Texas Tech, sitting firmly at 5 if they were to lose to BYU in the Big 12 championship, do you still think they get in the playoffs?
That's a good question. I watch all these videos where people say with, absolute certainty, oh, Texas Tech, will definitely be in. I don't know. Do I think they should? Do I think Texas Tech's one of the top 10 or 12 teams in the country? Absolutely. But how the committee would judge that, whether there, is a bias or not, that is debatable. But I think they should be. I think they could be, but there's a lot of teams massing there around. It's very much like the bubble in NCAA basketball with the tournament, but I think to a much bigger degree because there's less teams. I do think they should. I think they could, but I don't know if they will be. They need to win out, to be honest.
Yeah, look, we'll wrap it up. You talk about John Hamm and Cody Campbell. He said, yeah, you can call me John Hamm, landman. Of course, we speak now posthumously of John Hamm and landman. He's gone. He died, but Demi Moore took over. Is it really like it out there? Is that oil? That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, his name is on the field. He's risen to so many levels within the program, not just athletically in terms of his control. He's a very powerful dude, not just I believe with Texas Tech, but in college football. Yeah. And he is a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah. Hey, how do people follow you? And we'll definitely get you on again here soon. And I think Oak made a good question. At 10-2, do you make the playoffs? That's going to fuel. Hey, I've never seen interest like this November 18th in so many schools across the country. This is fantastic. But let them know how they follow you. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You can follow me on Twitter at Johnson Jarrett. Both the J's are capitalized. Also, the Red Raider Outfitter Rockin' pregame radio show. You can find that online as well here in Lubbock. And then at TTU 247 is Inside the Red Raiders, our 247 site.
All right, guns up, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Thank y'all.
That is fun stuff. Dudley Dawson, I imagine you've been to Lubbock once or twice over the years. It is cotton country. Like I said, I'm over here in Parkin right now. There's cotton money. There's oil and gas money too. Talking about, I watched Landman Sunday night. Billy Bob, man, that guy, he's a hell of an actor from Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm just going to say, and a man like that was married to Angelina Jolie at one time. Anything, absolutely anything is possible. I just think I can't help but get Carl Childers from Sling Blade. Reckon what you got good to eat in there. Being married to a woman like Angelina Jolie. If that can happen, which it did, anything is possible. First off, inside Arkansas, you're up there with John Neighbors. I love it. You got the Christmas tree up. What's going on? We know you got a coaching search going on.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's right. And I got to go to Little Rock this afternoon for a meeting, and I'm sure I'll hear some stuff at dinner. But what are you hearing about the coaching search and everything going on at Arkansas with the football program? And if you want to delve into basketball with Coach Cal, the unfasten your seatbelt signs are flashing. Feel free to smoke as well.
Well, first of all, I think that they're doing a really good job at keeping what's happening really under wraps. There's a lot of speculation out there. People are saying stuff with certainty. This and that. As we've often said, my little line that I don't traffic in rumors. Boy, I could traffic all over the country if I wanted.
Yes.
To, up here. I do think the things that I am certain of is that this thing is coming near an end. That's not breaking any scoops there. Obviously, the Missouri game has been moved to 2:30 2 days after Thanksgiving, and you hope you won't have a walking off the field deal like they did last time. They fired a coach when Missouri was here. But they've done a really good job at keeping it quiet. But it seems to me like they have interviewed 723 people, 36 of who are definitely the guy that they wanted, and then 8, who are working on different things that enhance their extensions and all that kind of. It's been fun, but man, it's time to get this over.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as I'm sure we all saw on Twitter, Arkansas fans are not pleased that James Franklin went to Virginia Tech. How do you think that was a realistic coaching option for Arkansas? And was there an interview or any? Did you hear anything about that?
I think it was a realistic option, but I don't think that he was ever that totally interested in here because of two things. Number one, I think that three things actually. Number one, I think that he really is more of that Virginia Tech area recruiting. Two, I think he knows that he can win in that conference better. I mean, let's just be honest about it, and you can get to the finish line there. And then the third thing is, I really think that when you take a look at, he just did not want Michael Key to come to this campus. And I was so excited about that. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I was taking all the skits that Keegan Michael Key, who looks just like him, could do. It was just going to be perfect for me as a writer for that type of situation. It was going to be too good. Think he's a great coach. I know what his record is against top five and schools and all that, but I also know what the record has been of the head coaches here for 14 years now. So
Yeah, and I think I was talking with Tim Horton about that one winning record in the conference the last 14 years. And again, I know the people. I know them at Arkansas. They have resources. How do you get everybody perfectly aligned, which is not easy, but it's got to happen if you want to win in today's world?
if there would be a consultant fee there for me if I could do that. I mean, I seriously think that they've been factions, and full well. You had Little Rock today. There used to be a big war. I don't think there is as much anymore between the Central Arkansas money and the Northwest Arkansas money. It was a contest, as you had who's going to operate things, who's going to run things. I think they are closer in getting together for the good of the state in terms of that. I don't know what it's like to have a ton of money. I don't know what it's like to get out there in a contest and say, I'll do this and I'll do that. Speaking of landman and all that. But I do think that I think that's been a problem over the years, is that the boosters have not necessarily worked together, but the people who have they've tried to hire have not, or people who they have hired have not done a good job at rallying those folks, be it in the athletic director position, the head coaching position, or the administration position. I think that they've been working against each other, and this NIL thing has been a dirty word to them from the word go. They fell behind, and they have been running uphill like a Stranger Things episode.
Yeah, it's a run on the bank right now. I saw Vince Ferrara briefly, but only briefly. Oh,
Sorry to interrupt, but I've got to run. I got to get to class.
off to class. Oakley, the intern, take care, man. Great stuff as always. You are always prepared.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right. Dudley, when we talk about trying to get an NIL program going, roster management, we just had Jarrett Johnson on, who covers Texas Tech for 247 Sports out in Lubbock.
How good are they?
They really are. And it's only 25 players in the portal. I look at Memphis
in the Liberty Bowl last year, and it looked like. I mean, I know there wasn't different people that weren't there, but they look solid. Hell, the thing has changed here.
Oh, it has, and it was interesting because Jarrett covering Texas Tech, only 25 players came in the portal, and Joey McGuire used to coach in the Metroplex, Dallas Fort Worth.
Razorback fan said.
Yeah, interesting, and how he is like godlike status among Texas high school football coaches. Let me ask you. Right now, you don't know, but what's your preference? Is it fair to ask you if you have a preference for who you would like to see as the head football coach at Arkansas? Because I'm just going to list the requirements. I was texting with Houston Nutt Saturday, thanking him again for taking time to share his time with us last week. I said, he's so damn authentic. He tells you, you don't have to talk to Houston that long to know how he feels about Arkansas and his whole family, his roots and all. Yeah, he transferred to Oklahoma State. We all know that, but he loves the Razorbacks. How important is it to get either a head coach or a lot of people around him that understand the Arkansas way?
Oh, I think it's very important, and I've taken some criticism from people who are saying it's just got to be You're just saying it's just got to be an Arkansas guy. No, I'm not. I'm saying you gotta have an idea of unique guy, right? He doesn't have to
Yeah.
be born in Arkansas. He doesn't have to have coached at Arkansas, but he has to have a staff that includes Arkansas. I'm sitting here tomorrow on my podcast. I'm interviewing the best player in the state of Arkansas, ranked wise, and Danny Bill from Cross County, and he's someone that was committed to Oklahoma State. In a variety of different ways, they have not been able to recruit this state. You've got to have somebody on this staff who can recruit this state, who has roots. Again, I'm not talking about the head coach per se, but I'm talking about on that staff, because I want to point out again, six guys out of the top 30 are coming here in this class. Yeah, that means the other 24. I mean, half of them seems like are going to Missouri. Some of them's going to Ole Miss. Everybody's getting a piece of the pie in your state. You've not done a good job of that. So you've got to have somebody. You mentioned Tim Horton. I think somewhere on the staff, if you could get him, it would do wonders. And I say that not thinking that. I've talked to the high school coaches for different stories, and that's what they want. They want somebody who knows them. And it may sound idiotic, but it's what they want.
It means a lot. Vince Ferrara, how you doing? How's the hip?
I'm moving a lot better than I was at this point in the last surgery. So doing well. The big reason for that is I have another brand new hip that I'm leaning on, as opposed to a bad hip after I got the first one done. So moving along pretty good, and still sore and the typical stuff. But man, I'm blessed to have the two surgeries behind me and getting closer to kind of a new way of walking. So I appreciate you asking.
You sound like you're probable on the availability list this.
Hey, I'll talk about the availability list. Coaches won't.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited. Today is a big day for me. I'm getting these staples out of the knee, and it's not necessarily that it freaking hurts, but it freaking itches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, we got the injured. I'm dealing with a pinched nerve or pulled ligament or something in my arm. It's like the triage unit. All right, look, Vince, Tennessee number 20 in the rankings that came out last night in the CFP rankings. Damn, you go back to that Georgia game. That Georgia game is haunting Tennessee, and you can't win them all. And then the pass right before the end of the first half, that was a pick six. There's pivotal moments. Every game's 4 or 5 plays. Tennessee has a chance to win out. I mean, you've got the opportunity, but you got to play Florida Saturday in the swamp, and you're 2-17 down there, and then you come home against Vanderbilt. There's a lot of really good football left, and folks, we're going till late January. Sadly, that's also when duck season ends, but we still got a long way to go to get there.
Yeah, and for Tennessee fans, I think that third loss against Oklahoma has taken a little bit of wind out of their sail, and because it's so unlikely for them to get in even position to have an argument. Maybe they will if they are absolutely dominant the last 2 games. Maybe there'll be some that will talk about them in high regard, but the rankings and just the numbers, the odds is just so small. You can point to the defensive liabilities. You can point to that Georgia game, the turnovers, the catastrophic play at the end of the first half, and the pick six that went the other way. That maybe the Alabama game plays out differently. A lot of things are pointing to are back at the coaches. And, Joey Aguilar is turning the ball over at a higher rate than he was earlier in the year, where he still would turn it over a few times, but now it's 4 in the last 2 games. I mean, 2 against New Mexico State. So, I think those are a lot of things are connected. The offensive line hasn't been quite as sharp, so there's a little bit more pressure on him. They haven't run the ball at the elite clip they did earlier in the year. So now the play action isn't as big a factor. And something that New Mexico State and other teams have done is shorten the game, because they're getting conversions on third down against Tennessee's defense. They're keeping the ball on long drives. And now with lesser opportunities, I think you're seeing Joey Aguilar take a few more chances that he didn't need to earlier in the year. So a lot of these things are intertwined. But, yeah, plenty of what ifs with where they're at now. And now it's, to me, honestly, it's just a matter of which bowl game they get into. And if they finish strong, it's going to be somewhere in Florida.
Yeah.
If not, then, they could be in Nashville or Charlotte or Memphis. But probably the Gator Bowl against an ACC team is the most likely destination for them.
But not the Bahamas. That's when you're way down there.
No, they wouldn't fall that far down.
Yeah.
I have questions for Doug.
Hey, talking about things I don't got to worry about is bowl destination.
Here, Rob brought up the CFP. And I'm sure there's been talk and angst about it. But the first thing I thought about when Hunter Yurachek is describing things that was going to Mac Rhodes before he left his post is, why is Hunter Yurachek at the head of that committee when they have a coaching search and so much on the line there at Arkansas?
Good questions, and there's a lot of people in the state wondering why that's. Man, boy, it's a good thing to have on your job resume, isn't it? I mean, if you're looking to go somewhere else, and I'm not saying that he is, but it is something that's just piled on again for the rest of this season. It's kind of like another one-score loss there, and that what does they call it, a word sandwich or something, word salad or something like that.
Word salad.
I'm sure, just like at that Little Rock touchdown cover, I'm sure that what he meant to say wasn't what came out. But he's got a lot of criticism, over that, and everything's handled by Zoom, I guess, during this part, and for the most part. But it's a quandary that Arkansas fans who are just looking to be upset about something, are like, you've got to be friggin' kidding me, with all this going. Now, I do have a question for you while I've got you here, which is an Arkansas-Tennessee question. Now, obviously, Alex Golesh is one of the candidates, supposedly. What can you tell me about him other than has a wife from Greenwood, was born in Russia, wins a lot of football games, and seems rather fiery.
Yeah, and I think he communicates really well with guys. He's kind of no nonsense, but he will joke around with you, but then hold you accountable at the same time. I think he would connect with folks there in Arkansas because he's a little bit different, but he's not so quirky. Like I don't, James Franklin, even though he's an accomplished coach, I thought that might be a little bit of an odd fit. Like Franklin wouldn't work anywhere. Alex Golesh is a different cat, but he's very much into the tempo. He's very much about the line of scrimmage and running the football, which Arkansas would appreciate. Sam Pittman wanted to have that, go back to their roots, just didn't work out. And he believes in dual threat quarterbacks and being able to make plays and run from that quarterback position and have that be an advantage against the hats you're going up against on defense. I like him a lot. And, obviously I'm a USF grad, so he's probably going to go somewhere. So I'm going to hate to see him go, but I'm not going to be one to hate on him because he was there. You just enjoy and appreciate what he did for you to raise your status of your program, and then hope you have another good hire after that based on where you're at. But Arkansas could do much worse than Alex Golesh. I would like that hire for them.
Yeah, and Rob, I didn't think I totally answered your question. You asked what would I like to see in a coach. To be honest, if BP gets the job, I'm sure he'll do a good job. But looking from outside and saying what would I take, I would like somebody. I'm 62. I know how much energy I have.
A lot.
I would like somebody, but I would like somebody in the 40 to 50 range who has a lot of energy, who's played the game with the NIL and the kids and all this kind of stuff. Who, much like Musselman, he's very upset when he loses to the point of you thinking maybe he's a jerk sometimes. He's very excited when he wins. That has been missing from the program. Wins have been missing, and the energy, whether you won or lost. So as a journalist and somebody who wants to write really good stories from here to the end, I would like some excitement. And I think that's all Arkansas fans are wanting right now. More wins, of course, and some excitement. And neither one of those have really been good excitement, I should say, because these one-score losses and finding ways to lose has been something that they've got to get out of, which I guess I'm saying they got to change the culture.
Yeah.
And Dudley, Alex Golish would check the energy box for you as well. There's no doubt about that. Real quick, why? Honestly, this is not. Why is Bobby Petrino still a candidate? I know what he did before, but you have to do something with this interim opportunity, and he has not. I understand he doesn't have his own guys and his own system, but the coaches that are going to be successful make something out of nothing short term, and then they build off of it. I don't understand his continued candidacy.
There are two things I would say to that. Number one is they remember when he won back here, and really that's the last time that they really had seasons where they were relative. I mean, playing at LSU, you're number 3 in the country. You played in the Sugar Bowl. Those have been far things that they haven't had. So even though his record since then is under 500, overall, there's still the allure of, let me make sure I say this right, BMFP. That's still the allure, even though that excitement hadn't been there in a while. And obviously, there's people out here who believe that he's such an offensive genius that if they just find the right defensive guy, things are just going to go great. Now, all that said, you got to have money these days, and you get to the Texas Tech guy out here. They went out and bought him a defensive line, and it worked.
Yeah.
28 million or something they spent. And they didn't get very many people, but they got the right ones.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned several of those starters. Romello Height, Dublin, Georgia, from Auburn, transferred. Lee Hunter from Viger down in Mobile, or Blunt. These guys they're starting somewhere else. And, Alex Golish at Arkansas would be cool. They'll sell borscht at the stadium. Borscht, niet, yeah. I mean, that guy, I love his story. An immigrant from Russia that came over here. I don't think they had a whole lot of money.
No,
And
$100.
Yeah, look what he has accomplished.
That was not an oligarch.
Yeah. This guy's the American dream. I'll tell you, I mean, I go back to legendary Mississippi State play-by-play for 58 glorious years, Jack Crystal. His parents both immigrated from Latvia and Lithuania. I mean, they did not come here in easy times. And when he retired, he said, I have lived the American dream. I mean, you can't get better. I think Alex Golish, I'm with Vince. I think he would be a great fit at Arkansas. I tell you, the great fit is the guy that wins. I mean,
yeah.
but you mentioned his wife's from Greenwood, which is a suburb of Fort Smith. Isn't that where Tyler Wilson was from, quarterback in 2010?
Absolutely.
Backed up Ryan Mallett. Won. That's a great high school program, by the way. There's your start in state. And then get Tim Horton. Get Houston Nutt to be in charge of the NIL collective. Come on, you going to tell Houston Nutt no? Come on, give the Razorbacks money. He'll get you fired up to go to your own, execution. I mean, that guy is the greatest. He's the greatest recruiter I have. I mean, I love that guy because he said his father drove a bus for the Arkansas School for the Deaf. He goes, my father never made more than $35,000 a year. He didn't do it for the money. And I'll go back, Vince, when Alex Golish was at Tennessee, as good as they are now, they like to be better. They were elite with that guy. I think he was special. He is still special.
And fans have still brought him up that they haven't been the same since he was the offensive coordinator. So yeah, there is still, even though they were improved offensively this year, there's still the longing for him at Tennessee. And when he went to USF, he was able to get USF to make commitments they had not made before in NIL and facilities, and finally getting the on-campus stadium going and all those kind of things. I mean, they continue to invest in it. And I think Alex Golish getting those promises, because he's a very good recruiter, very convincing, that I think he can convince, hopefully, if he was the choice at Arkansas, to make those commitments that have maybe been missing and what he can do with them. And that's the kind of guy that I think Arkansas needs.
That conference is a bevy of coaches right now, a bevy of young coaches. I don't know whether any of them would work here and great in the SEC, but I know that maybe they're the next Signetti, and Eric Morris from North Texas, Don't get hung up on that last name, people. Don't get hung up that he coached his Texas. I'm just saying.
Ooh, the Chad Morris years, man. That you're right. Don't hold his last name against him. All right, guys, about to wrap up. I tell you, yesterday was crazy. Something called Cloudflare collapsed, and it supports thousands. Like on this show, Brendan said right now, hey man, we got 4 engines. We got one, and it's leaking fuel. So that's why we got the best executive producer on the planet. I love him. I mean,
but Leslie Nielsen's flying the plane.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing to worry about. But look, both of y'all, college football, here it is, November 19th. And there is nothing is in the books yet. I mean, there's still so many possible scenarios. 25, 30 schools still have a chance to get in the playoffs. This is exactly what the people dreamed of when they put this together. Closing comments, Vince.
Yeah, playoffs, coaching, Lane Kiffin drama, which seems to be an annual thing, and it's all and that's intertwined with Florida and just been bizarre. And by the way, this stuff about Ole Miss needs to know if they're going to give him a deadline, and if he doesn't tell them, then they might not have him coach the play. Give me a break.
Yeah,
I mean, please, like they're going to tell that guy to go away.
Please, coaches.
No, he's going to coach as long as he wants to coach there. You're going to be in the same boat whether he coaches you or not, if he leaves before or after your playoff game. And then Tennessee, Florida. Tennessee hasn't won in Gainesville since 2003. Yeah. They didn't check the box of 2003 in Tuscaloosa at Bryant-Denny. They might want to do it because fans are already a little down about how things have gone. And then you have Vandy. Tennessee, a spoiler against Vandy for the playoff. And what is this world coming to? That could be on deck in the final week of the regular season.
Yeah. Arkansas basketball team, really good, but you got to show up. You got to play every night, or somebody will be a shot away or a technical foul away from beating you. I mean, it's a really good team. I know they're going to do well down the season, but dudes, don't, what is it, rat poison? Don't believe the hype too much.
Yeah. If I could catch this fly that keeps buzzing around. Hey, guys, Dudley Dawson, Vince Ferrara, on injured reserve, coming back. Hey, we got this. I'll believe it when I see it. No, I'll see it when I believe it. That's how we run this show. Y'all take care. See you next week. All right, let's say something about our sponsors. We're so blessed to have Landers Ford. You can see it over I think it's my left shoulder, right shoulder. I'm backwards looking at you. But Landers Ford at Poplar and Houston Levy. Why Landers Ford? Because Brad Bellamy's the general manager. Don Kitchens, you've got Kent Ritchie. You have the best staff, the best ownership group I've seen. They are committed to making the customer experience a dream come true. You want to get a new car, truck, or SUV? The Broncos, the Expeditions, the Ford Explorers, the F-150s, the 250s, the work trucks. We've also got the King Ranch, which is the nicest pickup truck I think ever made. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Can't get better. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the GM. $500 off for SEC Sidelines audience members. Right down the street from Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Starting Black Friday weekend, they're going to be open Sunday through Christmas, okay? 10 a.m., 6 p.m., Sundays 1 to 5, starting Thanksgiving weekend. Barber, Filson, STS, Pendleton, Schaefer, Duckhead, luggage from Filson. They've got pullovers. They've got over 7,000 pairs of men's and women's boots. They got the best selection of clothing. You'll never look better. Hewlett and Dunn, the best staff, hewlettandunn.com. They'll ship anywhere. And Rumble Boxing, Union and McLean, how you fight is how you live. Okay, get in the best shape of your life. And hempforpros.com. Remember, aches and pains, you have trouble sleeping, the all-natural hempforpros.com. The gummies, sleep, energy, chill, the topicals, the pain lotions and gels, they've got them all. Go to the website, hempforpros.com. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. For executive producer Brendan Martin, I'm Rob Browne saying thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. We'll see you back tomorrow.